Evening. All right, we're gonna have a good topic this evening, guys. I'm gonna give it a few minutes and let some people come in before I start saying what the topic is. And let me go ahead and find myself here. All right. All right, give it about a minute or so, let some people come in, and then I'll go ahead and discuss this evening's topic, which we're going to be talking about understanding pH, EC, and ppms. Cheers, guys. All right. Okay. All right. Like I said, welcome everyone. I hope everyone's having a great evening. All right, we're going to talk about understanding pH, EC, and ppms. Okay, so what is pH, guys? So for new beginner growers, what is pH? So pH is potential hydrogen or power of hydrogen. If you're on the more scientific term, it would be power of hydrogen. But on the norm, it's potential hydrogen, and pH is what makes the nutrients available to the plant. So if you're pHing correctly, then the plant can uptake a certain amount of nutrients that are in the nutrients. If that makes any sense. So for instance, so let's explain this. So for beginners. So you have a pH scale that starts from 0 and it goes to 14. 0 being very, very acidic, 14 being more alkalinity, more alkaline. And in between there are certain sweet spots that you would have to use. I mean, it all depends if you're running soil, if you're running cocoa, if you're running a hydro. Each one would have a different sweet spot that you would need when you pH. And for instance, for soil, the sweet spot for soil, guys, is usually 6.2 to 6.8. Those are usually the sweet spots. Hey, how's it going, Christy? Thanks for coming in. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody. We're just going to be talking about pH, ppms, and EC. What all that means, definitely for new growers and stuff like that. If you're new, stick around. If you're a grower, if you're a veterinarian grower, heck yeah, stick around too. This is going to be fun, guys. We're going to talk about potential hydrogen, what to pH, and in different methods and different mediums. You know, if you guys are growing in soil, cocoa, or hydro, we're going to go over all of that. Okay, so like I was saying, so soil, the sweet spot's going to be how much water a day? Well, okay, hey Rich, how's it going? And hey, thanks for that question too. So how much would you water? Hey, Monkey Man, how's it going? Cheers, man. Thanks for coming in. All right, so back to you, Rich, real quick. So how much do you water a plant a day? Well, you don't want to water every day. I'll tell you that right now. But it's also going to depend on the size of your plant. What stage is your plant in? If you don't mind me asking, Rich, let me know here in chat. What stage is it in? If it's a seedling, if you're in your middle of veg, or if you're in pre-flower, or if you're in mid-flower or late flower. Let me know, and then I can more or less guide you on how much you need to water. And then there's usually the rule of thumb too as well. So when you water, you stick your finger about, I don't know, an inch or so into the soil. And if you stick your hand, your finger in there and you pull it out and it's still moist, you're good to go. You don't need to water. But if you pick up your pot and it's super light, it's very dry, you see your plant's very droopy, I would water. But definitely not every day. Hey, Croc, how's it going? Crocian, how's it going? Thanks for coming on in. How's it going, guys? Everybody, thanks for showing up. It's going to be awesome, guys. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Cheers. I have some coffee and some water right here, guys. Sorry, excuse me. All right. So yeah, all right. So back to oh, not bad. Not bad. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Can't complain. You know, I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm able to grow some cannabis, so hey, I'm doing well. All right. So back to okay, so back to the sweet spots, guys. When you're pHing, so if you're growing in soil, guys, you want your pH to be anywhere from between 6.2 to 6.8. Those are going to be your sweet spots right there. And then if you're growing in cocoa, you're going to want to grow in between 5.8 and 6.2. You want to pH that right around in there. And then if you're doing hydro, like myself over here, you want to do anywhere between 5.5 and 6.2, which 5.8 usually is being the sweet spot in DWC. Um, that's the sweet spot that you wanna do here. So here's my pH meter here, guys. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what it looks like, but I've got one here. It's from VivoSun right here. Nothing special. Nothing special to it at all. Just a regular pH meter. I think it cost me like 15 bucks or something like that, maybe less. But it's been working very well for me this whole time, so I can't complain. And usually I go through pH meters quite a bit. I've been wanting a Blue Lab uh, pH meter because those are really well. They work very well, but they're pretty expensive too. They're like $100 for just for a pH meter, which is pretty pricey for me. I don't have that kind of money, but maybe eventually down the road, maybe down the road I will. Anyhow, so so when it comes to pH, guys, anybody new out there? Do you guys have any questions about pHing? Just let me know right now in chat if you have any questions at all about pH. And again, for all you new guys, pH stands for potential hydrogen. And what that does and what pH does is it creates the availability of the nutrients that your plant can take up, if that makes any sense, guys. So you could put all kinds of nutrients left and right inside your soil, inside your cocoa. I can just dump inside my reservoir here, my 5-gallon bucket. I could just dump a shit ton of nutrients, and that, I mean, the plant will only take up so much only if the pH is in the right zone. So you definitely want your pHs in the right zone, and in order for your plant to thrive and to grow exponentially, quick. Um, yeah. So you would start off with plain water, guys. So if you're not really sure what to do, you'd start off with plain water. You would measure you calibrate it, calibrate your pH meter first of all, guys. And then if you use it a lot, I recommend at least once a month calibrating it. And there's powdered solutions out there. You can get them on Amazon, and it'll help calibrate your meters. Very simple. It's very simple, very easy to do. Make sure you use distilled water though when you do calibrate. Don't use RO water, not when you do calibration on your pH meters. Trust me, just use distilled water. RO water will throw your pH meters off. Anyway, okay, so start with pHing plain water, then add your nutrients into it, then measure it again, do your pH, and then you want to adjust your pH last. So depending on what nutrients you're adding in, there would be a typical order to it. And then you would add your nutrients, and then at the end you would pH it before giving it and feeding it to your plant. So the common mistakes would be adjusting before nutrients. So you would adjust your pH before you added your nutrients. So you adjust it, then you added your nutrients, and then fed it to your plant. Well, adding those nutrients can either raise or lower your pH, guys. So it's very important. Very important that you add everything first and then you pH it last. And then make sure you guys give it here's a little tip. Make sure you guys give it about at least a good, I don't know, 10 minutes after you mix your nutrient solution together, and let it sit for a minute and then go and pH it, because it'll give you more accurate reading. Because if you pH it right after mixing everything, it'll give you a reading, but it might not be that same reading again 5 minutes later. And then usually that's 5 minutes later is when you'll pour it in through your soil, and all that water takes time for it to go through and get to the roots and system and stuff like that. So that pH can definitely change on its way down through the soil. Keep that in mind. Yeah. So, like I said, so if you're growing in soil, guys, sweet spot is going to be anywhere between 6.2 and 6.8. And if I go quiet at all, guys, that means I'm going to take a drink of coffee here, or water, or I'm taking a toke. Either one of those things is going to happen. All right. Now, not much of a cocoa grower though. I don't know about you guys out there. Let me know if you guys are familiar with cocoa, cocoa core, growing in that medium. Let me know how that's worked out for you. I know it's a form of hydroponics as well. I prefer DWC here. I went from soil to living soil to hydroponics. I kind of skipped over. I never grown in cocoa, so I'm not really too familiar with it. Um, but let me know, guys, in chat if you guys have ever grown in with cocoa. Let me know how it's worked out for you. Uh, yeah, and what sweet spot do you guys pH at? So definitely let me know what's worked out for you. So in cocoa, yeah, you got 5.8 to 6.2. Those are the sweet spots for pHing. And then for hydro, like myself here, and I got my seedling here, and this is day 8. I don't know, you can hardly see her there, but she's on day 8 right now. She's taking off right now, so I think her roots barely touch the water now because she's gotten exponentially growing fast, like super fast. So I'm stoked. I'm happy with that. And okay, so let's continue here, guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to blabber on. Sometimes I'll get carried away here and just start talking about bullshit. Okay, so all right, so different. So we talked about different pHs and different soil mediums and where you need to be at when you pH. Another thing another thing is pH swings. So when you have potential hydrogen swings that are happening in your soil or cocoa or hydro, what happens is that it can mimic nutrient burns. It can mimic nutrient deficiencies in cannabis plants. So it's very important that you always check that pH and make sure you're in that zone, because if you're not in that zone, then before you start giving it more nutrients, you're like, oh crap, maybe I need to give it more nutrients, or maybe it's underfed, I overfed, and before you start freaking out and doing that, always check the pH first, because if you check that pH and notice it, oh wow, my pH dropped, really, really low, or my pH raised up pretty damn high, you can go back in there and fix it, get your pH stabilized. And then just make sure you just stay on top of that. Stay pH it, even if you have to come back 2 or 3 times a day and pH it. Now, realistically, I mean, everybody gets up in the morning. You probably do it in the morning, or you got school or work and stuff like that you go to. So you could probably do it maybe twice. You go to work, right before you go to work or school, and then when you come home, and you can pH it. So if you could do it at least twice, that would be good. But 3 times I recommend it, just to make sure you're not drifting. And if you're drifting, you can catch it in which direction it's going. So you'll notice it if it starts to drift pretty low. You're like, wow, it keeps going on the acidic side. So when I pH it, let me pH it on the little higher side. So when it has time to drift down, it'll drift down slowly, and you'll have time to catch that pH again. These are just little tips and tricks, guys, to keep your pH stabilized and in the zone. So if that makes sense, I hope that makes sense for you guys. So yeah, so the next part we're going to be talking about, guys, we're going to dive into, if anybody else has any questions about pH, please let me know right now. If not, we're going to dive right into EC, and that's electrical conductivity. And we're going to dive into that and what that means and how you check it, in every single medium, how you check it in soil, cocoa, and hydro. We're going to discuss it and what it means. We're going to discuss what EC means and what it's all about. So definitely, guys, give me a little second here. I'm going to take a little toke, and then we'll hop right in. And then soon, when you guys be pHing and everything right, you'll be having big nug jars like that, guys. You'll be having several of these bad boys. Excuse me. That right there is Moby Dick that I'm puffing on, and that's what I grew. If you guys check out my channel, you guys can check and see what I grew on my last hydro here, DWC, which was my first grow ever on a DWC. You guys can check that out. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that grow so much. I did have trouble ever since the beginning. You guys can see it. I had some deficiencies going on since the beginning, and it was my pH. So it took me quite a while and quite a diagnosing the plant before figuring out the right diagnosis for it. So it took me a while, guys. to figure that one out. But now that I know, I spread that tip around to everybody, and I make sure, especially if it's DWC you're growing in, please always check that pH because it does swing. And when it swings, it'll mimic nutrient deficiencies in cannabis plants, and it sucks because then you're gonna try to scramble and try to find out, oh man, is it a CalMag deficiency? Is it iron deficiency? Is it this deficiency, that deficiency? I mean, you'll just keep going on and on and on, and you'll mess up the plant even more eventually, before figuring out it's just the pH swings. So that's what I always say, guys. Check the pH first, and then if it's not your pH, then go on from there. And yep, definitely. Okay, so all right, guys, we're gonna go into EC. So EC, guys, stands for electrical conductivity. All right, and so what the hell does that do, right? What it does, so your nutrient salts carry electricity, so the more dissolved the nutrients in the water, the higher the EC reading. So basically, okay, here's in a nutshell, guys, what EC is all it means is it measures the strength in your nutrients. How strong are you feeding? Now, this is very important and growing, guys, and here's why. Because when you're feeding your plant, you would like to know, hey, you don't want to waste your nutrients, first of all. You know what I mean? That stuff costs money, guys. So if you can save, a little bit of nutrients, that shit will go a long way. So if you could save just a little bit of nutrients, and here's how. So by checking your EC, you can see, oh, am I underfeeding it or am I overfeeding it? And every day, if your EC drops pretty low every day, your EC, that means your plant's hungry. That means she's really hungry. You can up that feeding, up it up. If your EC is hardly dropping and she's hardly drinking any water, yeah, that's not good. Drop that, lower that EC. And if you're in soil, that would mean flushing. That means flush it out. And one way you can check it is when next time you water your plants, or you feed your plants, I should say. Next time you feed your plants, guys, and you're feeding them, that runoff, that 10% runoff you get, that you're supposed to have anyway when you're feeding it, when you're watering it, at the bottom, you want to catch some of that and pH that, so you could check your pH and see what your pH is when it comes through the soil, and get a TDS meter and an EC meter, guys, and that's what it's going to look like. This one right here, that's going to measure your EC, and that'll be able to tell you right then and there whether or not she's underfed or overfed. And that'll let you know. And I'll tell you guys the sweet spots too right now here with the EC and what they're supposed to be at and different stages. Cheers. All right. So your EC reading, if it is 0.0 to 0.4, super light, very light feeding. That means that's mostly plain water that's in there. If it's 0.5 to 1.0, that's a light feeding. If your EC reads that. Now, if your EC is reading 1.1 to 1.8, that's moderate. That's okay. That's usually you want to start off with the light. I would suggest starting off with the light because every plant and genetic is different. Sometimes you can start heavy feeding on a plant and it just will not fucking like it, and it'll tell you. So I always say start with little goes a long way. So start with light feeding first, and then you can work your way up. And now if your EC is reading anywhere between 1.9 and 2.4, that is strong. That's a strong feeding right there. And anything over 2.5 and up beyond that, that's a very strong. And you risk building up a lot of salt buildup, water taking problems, uptaking problem, and then you'll have tips. Your leaves will burn. You'll have some burnt tips there, and you'll have to deal with that too, which sucks. So definitely, guys, start on the light side. And I always say start on the light side because you can always go light. You can always underfeed them, if anything, and give them more food when they need it. But if you go over, then you gotta either flush, or in my case here with this hydro here, I would have to change out the reservoir completely or dilute it, which is a pain in the ass. So I might as well just change it out completely. The reservoir. Anyway, that would be my decision. That's what I would have done. Yeah. Okay, yeah, guys. So I went over some of the EC readings. A low EC is obviously the feed is weak. A higher EC means it's a heavy feed. Let's see. So just always keep in mind. So again, EC only measures the strength of your nutrients. And this is only important, guys, so you know exactly how much your plant is eating every day, how much your plant is not. Oh, and keep a chart here, like on my wall right here. I have a chart right here, guys. Let's see. Oh, it's probably backwards. I can't see it. Anyway, but I got days, weeks, my RH, what is that? My temperature, my water temps, my pH, my ppms, my ECs, and then I leave a spot for notes just in case, guys. I gotta write some stuff down. But yeah, guys. So always keep one of those charts right there. You keep track of your plant. You keep track of how much you're feeding it, when you're feeding it. And then also your plant will let you know when anything's happening. If something happens, if it reacts, if it starts getting burnt tips, well, you know that you're feeding it too much. We need to back off. And definitely, let me get those here. I got the little pothead hook here, and let me get those numbers for you guys real quick. On this is where I use right here, guys, and this is what I use to grow. And with my hydro. So an early growth, guys, I want my EC, and early growth in seedlings, guys, I want my EC to be around 0.7 to 0.8. And then late growth in veg, while I'm in veg, I want my EC to be at 1.0 to 1.3. That's typically where you want it. That's a good feeding, guys. It's still a little bit on the light side. It's not too heavy, but it's not too light. So it's a medium. It's a medium feed. I think it's right on the money. And then when you're transitioning into grow into veg, then you can kick it up a notch. That's when it starts asking for more nitrogen, and that's when you can start feeding it a lot more. Then you want to go to 1.6, 1.7, and then when you're in mid veg, you can up it even more to 1.8, 1.9. Then when you get to flowering, guys, that's when you can start kicking it up to 1.9, 2.0, your ECs. When you're in beginning flowering still, you know, keep an eye on it and see how much she's eating. And if she's eating pretty good, you can kick it back up to about 2.0 when your EC meter reads about 2.0 to 2.2. And then when you're in mid flowering, you can even kick it up more. That's when she's going to start ripening up and those buds want to start fattening up. So you just need to hook them up with some more nutrients. So mid flowering, you definitely want to go up 2.2 to 2.4 and get it up there, guys. And then at the end, you want to flush it out. Not sure if you guys flush or let your plant fade away with a flush as well. I usually do both. I like to fade it with a flush. And that usually helps my dry and cure at the end. And because what happens is at the end of the life cycle of the cannabis plant, at the end of flowering, as it starts turning colors, and if you notice some growers and you notice like how some of the leaves are turning brown and crispy, and there's some of them dying off. So what's happening is that the cannabis plant, it's eating itself. So it's still requiring nitrogen and other nutrients and micronutrients as well. But it's getting it from its leaves, so it does it from the bottom of the plant and it works its way up, and it starts to take off all the healthy leaves from there. And I do that. I personally let the plant do that, because at the end of it, when I dry and cure, it's going to knock out most of that chlorophyll that's in the plant itself. So it's going to take away, it's going to eat up a lot of that plant material. So that way, when I start to dry and cure, it's not going to take that long for me to dry it and cure. So my dry usually is about anywhere from 7 to 9 days. And then I cure it, and then it goes into jars, and then jars for about, I don't know, 2.5 weeks. And then pop those jars open, give them a few burps in the beginning, and just keep the RH around 62% in those jars, and try to keep it in that range. And yeah, in about 2.5 weeks, man, I'll have some pretty good dank. And that's here, that's what I got here, guys. Right here, I got some Moby Dick that I grew off of DWC. I got about, what was it, 5 ounces, a little over 5 ounces offer. So that was cool. That was all right. Speaking that, I had a deficiency from her since day one, the beginning. You guys can check it out. I have it all recorded down, video logged it and everything, guys. So you guys can go check that out on my channel. Oh yeah, guys, I want to mention real quick too. Don't forget, go to ruderalisrex.com, guys, and win your chance for free seeds. And we're gonna start doing some merch giveaway here too, guys. I got beanies here. All right, you guys got beanies with my logo on it, R&R. That's it. That's all it'll say, just the R&R. So if you guys know who I am, then you'll know you'd be wearing a Ruderalis Rex hat, and that's what it stands for, Ruderalis Rex. All right, yeah. Hey, cheers, Jackass. Hey, thanks for showing up, man. Cheers. Heck yeah. Yep. Just going over, just talking about EC right now. We went over pH, EC. We're talking about electrical conductivity, and then we'll be talking about PPMs a little bit. We're not going to dive too much into PPMs because I want all the new growers and everybody to understand that PPMs is just another form of EC. Uh, that's all it is. And so you would want to learn the EC first, the electrical conductivity. You want to get that no those numbers down packed. Then you'll have a better grasp on what parts per million and the ppms and what that means, um, and stuff like that. Yeah, guys. So let's see here. So here we go. So for I'm gonna show you guys right now. I got a little chart here, right here, guys, a little cheat sheet that I made just to let you guys know, on if you're feeding soil, cocoa, or hydro. I'm gonna let you guys know what your EC should be and what your ppm should be. So, all right, guys, check it out. So if you're in soil, you're growing soil. This is for all you soil growers out there. So if you're growing in soil for seedling stage, guys, you want your ECs to be at 0.4 to 0.8, with your ppms being anywhere from 200 to 400. Uh, and that's for seedling stage, guys. That's for seedling. Now, early veg, you want that to be about 0.8 to 1.2, and your ppms anywhere from 400, between 400 and 600. Now, for late veg, guys, you want your EC to be about 1.2 to 1.6, with your ppms anywhere from 600 to 800. And that's late veg. And now early flower, you're gonna kick it up a little bit to 1.4 to 1.8. So notice how on late veg it went from 1.2 to 1.6, but then now when you went to early flower, it dropped to 1.4 to 1.8. So and it does that because you're transitioning, guys. You're switching that nitrogen. You want to drop off from that nitrogen and add more bloom nutrients, and more sugars and stuff like that. And it depends. And I say more sugars, and that's feeding your beneficial bacteria that you have in your soil, your mycorrhiza, stuff like that. So you feeding your plants sugar and stuff, and in turn, obviously, it'll uptake better nutrients for your plant during flower, or during the whole lifetime of the whole life period of its life. Anyway, so we talked about early flower. So if it's in mid flower, you want it between 1.8 and 2.2, with your ppms being anywhere from 900 to 1100. And maybe I think I skipped early flower too. If I skipped early flower, that's going to be nope. I remember that. No, I did say it. That's 1.4 to 1.8. All right, so yeah, mid flower 1.8 to 2.2, with your ppm being anywhere from 900 to 1100. All right, so late flower, you wanna drop it back down to 1.4 to 1.8 on your EC, and your ppms to start reading anywhere from 700 to 900. And then when you flush, obviously, your ECs should be reading anywhere from 0.0 to 0.4, and your ppms anywhere from 0 to 200. And that's flushing at the end, guys. And that's for soil. Okay, guys? So I hope you guys wrote that down, or jogged it down here, up here in memory, guys. So for you soil growers, that's definitely where you want your EC and your ppms to be, in that range. But like I said, let's focus more on the EC though, guys, because EC's more universal. PPMs can get confusing. It depends on what, and the PPMs I listed right now, guys, that's on a 500 scale, and because you have a 500 scale, a 640 scale, and a 700 scale. Completely confusing. You can have a grower, and I can take the same solution from him. I have some of his solution. He has his solution. We can both ppm it and get different ppms, and that's because of different scales. He can be on a 640 scale or 700 scale, and I could be on a 500 scale. I know that sounds confusing. You're like, well, what the hell does that even mean? Trust me, we're not going to even dive into that right now. Let's just not focus on EC, guys. We'll focus on the EC part of everything. EC is where you want to be. That's universal. Everybody, you can talk about EC with anybody, and anybody will know what you're talking about when it comes to EC. PPMs, that can differ. It can differ because of the different scales. So we'll stick with the EC, guys. And now we're going to jump to cocoa, guys. We're going to go over with cocoa. So if you're cocoa growers, growing that cocoa core, cheers, guys, real quick. All right. If you're going that cocoa core, I'm going to go through the ECs with you guys, and I'm going to leave the PPMs out on this one, guys. All we need to focus on is just the ECs. If you get the ECs right, you'll have a healthy plant, and you'll know exactly what you're feeding it. And as you check it, you'll be able to understand more, and you'll be like, oh, my EC dropped, or my EC is not dropping at all, so maybe I need to back off on the nutrients, or maybe she's hungry and give her more. This will let you know right here by checking the EC, guys. Will let you know exactly what you need to do. All right, so cocoa growers. So for seedling stage, you want your EC to be anywhere from 0.5 to 0.8. And that's for seedling stage. For early veg, 1.0 to 1.3. Late veg is going to be 1.3 to 1.7. Early flower, 1.5 to 1.9. Mid flower, 1.8 to 2.2. And this is all EC I'm talking about right here, guys. And then flushing. And then when you flush, it should be 0.0 or 0.4. You want hardly anything in that water. You want to flush with some good RO water. Reverse osmosis, for if you don't understand what RO is, that means reverse osmosis water. You want to flush with that at the end, and that's just going to help get rid of all that excess nutrients and salt buildup that's in the soil, or cocoa for that matter, if you're growing in either one of those. Okay, so I hope that helps out right now so far, guys. We went over the soil, we went over cocoa. Now, if you're going in DWC hydro, like myself here, guys, all right, this is the ECs that we're going to be going over right now. So if you're doing seedling, how I am right now, you want it anywhere between 0.3 and 0.6. I'm going to let you guys know on a little secret. Right now, mine is on what? We're day 8, and my EC is at 850, guys. I'm 0.8. So I am 2 points higher on my seedling stage than what it recommends, and I'm doing that because I'm pushing it this time. I want to push this hydro grow. I want to see how much these plants can take before hurting them too much. You know what I mean? Before I need to back off. So so that's what I'm doing. I'm feeding them a little bit more. I'm giving them a little bit more food, but I am also running them 24 hours a day. So I'm pushing them. I'm pushing them right now. This light stays on 24 hours a day, and I'm pushing that growth. Okay, so for seedling, 0.3 to 0.6. Again, this is your EC reading in DWC hydro. So for early veg, you want 0.8 to 1.2. Late veg, you want 1.2 to 1.6. Early flower, you want 1.4 to 1.8. Mid flower, 1.6 to 2.0. Late flower, 1.2 to 1.6. And then the flush, 0.0 or 0.0.4. 0.4. Yep. You don't want anything in that water, hardly anything in that water. Because I forgot the actual term for it, but what cannabis does is it'll whatever you put, cannabis is great at whatever you put in the soil, it'll keep inside the plant. So that's why it's very important. Like when people people using STS spray, silver thiosulfate spray, to make feminized seeds and stuff like that, they'll tell you once you spray that plant, you can't use it. Do not use that plant. It becomes tarnished. It becomes no good. So yeah, cannabis plants are very, very good at keeping whatever they grow in. That's what they'll hold it on the inside. So if they grow in a lot of iron and magnesium, they'll have a lot of iron and magnesium inside of them. You guys get it. Wherever they add or whatever you put in the soil, that's what they're going to be. Anyway, all right. Yeah, okay, guys. So we went over soil, we went over cocoa, and we went over DWC on where you need to be on your electrical conductivity. And remember, the electrical conductivity is traveled through your nutrient salts. And it's traveled through there, and it's uptake through your nutrients, and it's uptake through pH, guys. So pH is very important. Again, um, keep that pH in check, and watch keep the pH in check. Watch what you're feeding your plant, and yeah, guys, and for the most part, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. What about the seeds? All right, which seeds? What are we talking about here, Jack Ash? Oh, what Streamlabs is saying right now? You can win some stickers, wristband, six magic beans. Is that what you're talking about right now? Because you can also go to my website, www.ruderalisrex.com, and if you guys go there, you guys can enter and win a chance for free seeds there. It's a land race, Colombian gold. That's what it is right now. And I pick one winner every month, and I think we're approaching. So are fem seeds not organic? Well, okay, so well, that's actually okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. I would say what's really organic. I mean, if it comes down to a regular seed, that creates a male and a female, and then you pollinate. You take the male and you pollinate the female with regular seeds. I guess regular seeds because that's the more natural way. I guess that would be organic. I would say that would be the most organic way. Um, oh, STS seeds. Yeah, STS seeds. I mean, it's a cheat code, really. Now, is it organic? No, because you're using silver thiosulfate. You're using silver to stop the production of the plant from flowering and turning into pollinating itself. So by doing so, I would say no STS. I don't think the STS would fall in organic, but it's still viable. Everything from it is still viable. And it's a cheat code. Like I said, it's a cheat code because now all the seeds are female. So, I mean, that's great. Now you don't have to, I mean, unless you want males. So, I mean, if you want males, then yeah, go with regular seeds. But if you use STS on a plant, I don't see anything wrong with those seeds at all. As far as, like if it's good for being organic or not, those seeds will be just as good as organic ones. And organic, I would consider regular seeds. So yeah, so yeah, I hope that helps out. At least that's my opinion. That's my opinion on it. Um, yeah, yeah, but they're still good though. Yeah, they're still good. So keep that in mind too. STS seeds, they're still good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Regular seeds tend to be. I've noticed, and not by much either, and I can't really prove it either, but I've noticed that regular seeds tend to be a little bit more stronger than feminized seeds. You can stress them out, the regular seeds, a little bit more than a feminized seed. Because if you do too much to a feminized seed, she'll hermaphrodite. I noticed that. Well, so will a regular. Don't get me wrong. A regular seed will do the same thing too. Um, but I've seen it a lot more with feminized seeds turning into hermaphrodite to a hermaphrodite if it stresses out too much. Um, so yeah, I don't know. So I mean, I would go with regular seeds definitely because with regular seeds you can just breed yourself. You know exactly what you're putting into the plant. You know you're using nature, Mother Nature, how Mother Nature intended, how Mother Nature does it. Out there, and you're not using any chemicals or anything like that, and you're still able to smoke the plant too at the end. You can still create seeds and smoke your plant. just it's just like back in the day, you got some weed with a bunch of seeds in it. You just got to break it up, take all the seeds out, and then puff away. Um, so yeah, either way actually would work though. I mean, you see a lot of growers are going to do the STS spray because it's just going to make nothing but feminized, and that's the whole part of growing too, right? I mean, you would want to grow more females than males in your grow experience, unless you're just a complete breeder. Then I understand doing nothing but males. Um, no, it doesn't actually. No, it doesn't stay in the seed. Now, I don't recommend smoking the seeds because the seeds will probably be tainted with that silver thiosulfate, the STS spray. Um, but you can take the seeds from an STS plant and grow them out and smoke it, and it's completely fine. It's 100% completely fine. You just cannot smoke the plant that you sprayed STS to. You cannot smoke that one. Um, because that's that silver you don't want that silver particles and all that getting in your lungs. It'll get you super sick real quick. um, yeah. But other than that, yeah, the seeds are perfectly fine. The seeds are perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine. All right, guys, here, cheers. I'm gonna take a little toke real quick here. Yeah. Yeah, so you can definitely grow out the seeds from an STS plant, no problem, and smoke that, and you'll have no issues with that. No, not a problem at all. Just the plant that you sprayed the STS on, you cannot smoke that. You got to get rid of that. So you can use it just to make seeds and seeds alone, but then after that, get rid of the plant. But those seeds that you have, you can grow those all day long and smoke them all day long, and you'll be 100% fine. None of that crap will get into your lungs and all that from what you sprayed, that STS stuff. So yeah. All right. All right. Let's see here. Well, I mean, I guess we can discuss a little bit about PPMs if you want. I mean, it's I don't know. Because of the different scales, it can get pretty confusing. And that's why I just say just the EC. If we stick to the electrical conductivity, it's way better. It's more on you can understand it a little bit better once you start getting into it. And once you buy a meter, get a TDS and EC meter like that there, TDS and EC. Um, and they're not expensive. I think this was like 4.99, something like that. It was like $5 on Amazon. And then when I bought my pH meter, that was like 12, $13, something like that, maybe 15 the most. I think I don't think I spent more than $15 on that. Um, so definitely I recommend if you grow, and I think you do, right? Jackass, you got, I'm pretty sure, right? You pH your stuff too, right? You pH and ppms, or EC, I'm sorry. You get your EC meters, that you get your numbers. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, so it's very important, very important. I always recommend for everyone to pH and check and then check your runoff. You're in soil, check that runoff. If you're growing outside, you don't need to worry about a damn thing. It buffers it out its own self. Um, a lot of outside growers are pretty cool with that. They don't really have to have a pH meter. Um, um, I mean, I still recommend, if you're an outside grower, to still have one and pH your nutrients before giving it to it, because then that way, when it buffers in the ground, it doesn't have too high or too low of a buffer. It's like right in the middle, because you pH'd it to the neutral zone. Um, it just helps the ground be able to buffer out the pH if you're an outside grower. Uh, I do know that one. Yeah. So that's about it though for outside growing. That's all. I'm an inside grower. Um, so yeah. Let's see what else. All right. Let's see, what else can we talk about here? Oh yeah, yeah, we got some more. I got some. We got some myths and some facts that I like to. All right, here's one here. Here's a myth: more nutrients always means faster growth, and that's a lot of new growers. They like to that they would think, hey, if I got to put more nutrients, if I just overload it, they're gonna suck it up and just get super buff. Nope. Fact, that's false. Overfeeding commonly slows your growth. So that one right there, that's a good one right there. Another myth is deficiency always means to add fertilizer. You know, a lot of new growers. How many new growers out there would really be quick to go and add fertilizer to their new deficiency that they see on there? Probably pretty quick, thinking that it's not getting enough food. When in fact, false. And this is what I always say: check the pH first. Definitely check your pH first. And then here's another myth. Okay, yeah, but no, but I'm pretty sure your plants. I saw your plants, Jack Ash. I saw them. I've been giving you thumbs up on all your videos, man, that I've been seeing lately. Your plants have been looking beautiful, lovely, man, very healthy. They are loving it where you're at. Yeah, they. I saw them outside, man. They're loving it. So whatever you're doing it right. You're doing it right, bro. Yep, keep it up, man. I don't think. I mean, whatever you're doing, if you haven't pH, then there's no need for it. Um, like I said, the ground is great outside. When you grow outside, the ground is great at buffering out and getting you right into the zone, right where you need to be in the neutral zone for pHing. So for plant nutrient uptake, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what nature can do. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, cool, man. And I saw your nugs too. Your nugs are looking beautiful on one of those plants. Um, definitely, Jack Ash. You're doing a great job, man. Keep it up. Oh, did I show you real quick? I want to show you. Did I show you the beanies here? Check that out. We got the Ruderalis Rex beanie. Heck yeah. I also made a hoodie and I got a hoodie done. Yeah, for sure. For sure. No problem. Yep, you got it, man. Cheers. No worries. No worries. All right, let's see here. So we went over. All right, so we went over pH, ECs. I mean, I went over a little bit of the ppms with you guys. Talked about it a little bit. Um, like I said, I didn't want to dive too much into the ppms because it can get confusing of the different scales that there are. There's a 500 scale, 640, and a 700. Excuse me. Rainwater is good. Yep, but tap water I have to check. Yeah. Yep, I do. Yep, you're right, man. I recommend checking that tap water. Rainwater not so much. Yeah, rainwater tends to be chill. Um, yeah. Tap water, yep, I recommend checking it. Yep, that's always good. That's always good. Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate the cool hat. Okay. Oh yeah, you like this? You like the beanie? That's cool, huh? Yep, I got a couple of them done, and then I got a hoodie done. I got a hoodie made, and it's got nothing in the front of the hoodie, but in the back, it's got R&R on the back. So yeah, yeah, guys. Then we'll let's see. Right now, I got I don't know if you guys can see. I got my little seedling here. She's day 8 right now, and she's a mix auto. She's a mix. Not sure. I got her out of her mix pack from Fast Buds. So, and I did that because the mix pack tends to be on the cheaper side. I get more seeds for cheap. I think it's like $5 a seed if I buy the mix pack, versus sometimes they want like $15 to $19 per for one seed, um, which can be pretty expensive. So I just go with the mix pack because I don't really need to know what strain it is. They just give me a list of what it could be, which is fine with me because I liked every single one of what it could be. Um, so yeah, so that's what I got going on over there, guys. So stay tuned in there. This sucker's already hit the water, the roots. So she is taking off. She's gonna fly like the moon, guys. And this is what I love about DWC. Just the rapid growth from it is just it's really cool to see. Really cool to see. I recommend you growers out there, if you guys never ever grew DWC, I recommend it. Get yourself a little setup and try it out. Definitely try it out. Okay. All right. So, any questions? Any questions for me, guys? Anybody got anything for me? Um, we went over we went over the difference of soil, cocoa, DWCs, what the sweet spots were in pHing. We went over the sweet spots in EC for each one as well, for soil, cocoa, and hydro. We went over that. And then we went over a few myths and facts, of what, you know, another one, a myth is EC is more universal than ppms. That's actually true. That's very true. Uh, yep. Tap water was 6.5 pH, then midsummer spiked to 9. Interesting. Interesting. So I wonder, what do you think? Was it the heat? Do you think the heat then? Because you said midsummer. By midsummer, I would think it would get super hot, right? So do you think that's probably what spiked up the pH in your tap water? Um, that's cool. That's interesting. It shot up pretty good. Um, from 6.5 to 9.5 to 10. Yeah, that's a pretty jump. Uh, and your tap water. So for sure, I would definitely, if it's doing that, I'd definitely start pHing it. At least if you're feeding, or do the I'm not sure if there's chlorine in your tap water or are you well water, right? I think it's just, are you city water? If you're well water, I don't think you have nothing to worry about. But if you're city water, I think usually people let their water sit out for about 24 hours to let the chlorine and a few other chemicals or something like that evaporate out of the water before you put any nutrients in it and feed your plants. Um, Now I know it's not, that's not for everybody. I know, a lot of people will just take their tap water and straight feed their outside plants with it. I've known people to do that. Um, and nothing happened, everything worked out for them. Um, but for, I don't know, Jack Ash, but for those numbers, 6.5, and then it spiked up to 9.510. That's a pretty good increase. And I'm interested. I'm wondering what's causing that spike in there, and I'm wondering if the heat doesn't have anything to do with it. I bet you it does. I bet you, like, heating up the pipes and stuff like that, or they did something to it. Yep, that was my. Yep, they did something to it. That was my next go-to standard operating procedure. There was yeah, they did something to it. Yep, they usually do. They put more chemicals in it or something like that too. Yeah, I know. When I used to live in California, yeah, that water there was, fuck, tasted like garbage. Compared to where I live now, I live in the mountains, so now, I mean, I'm on a well, so this water is delicious. It comes out super cold. It's really good. ppms, I'm a little concerned about. There's some shit in the water, but I don't know. It's all right. It's not too bad. Um, but I don't use the well water to feed my plants, actually. Not for the hydro here. The hydro gets nothing but RO water or spring water, and sometimes I do a little mixture of both to help with the CalMag, and that's adding spring water to it. Our RO water doesn't have any CalMag to it, so if you're using just pure RO water for your DWC, I recommend you adding a lot more CalMag to it. Or you do what I do, is do a hybrid where I'll add 2 gallons of RO water and 2 gallons of spring water, because spring water has the minerals in it along with CalMag. And I still add CalMag to my reservoir. Not too much. I do it on the light side. Um, because I am adding the spring water. So, you know, gotta balance it out. Okay, yeah. All right, guys. Is there any questions? Anything for me? If not, I think that sums it up, guys. I think this wraps it up for tonight's subject. I hope everyone was able to understand pH, what pH means, potential hydrogen, your EC, electrical conductivity, or your ppms, parts per million, or total dissolved solids. Um, yeah, um, yeah. I hope everyone learned something from me tonight. I hope everyone had a good time. And I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up. Nobody has any questions for me. We'll do it again next Thursday. I know I had to do it. I didn't do it tomorrow for Thursday. I know I did it tonight, but I have to take my wife to the airport tomorrow. She's flying out. She's got to do some stuff. Um, so I had to do my live tonight. So I just decided to do it tonight because I'll be out of town tomorrow. I'll be out towards the airport and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah. All right, Jack Ash. Thanks for you too, man. Cheers. Thanks for showing up. I hope everyone had a great evening. Hope everyone learned something. And then until next week, we'll do another topic, guys. I hope we'll do a fun one this time. And I plan on maybe doing a giveaway, guys. I'm gonna do a giveaway where we'll do a Ruderalis Rex pack along with the beanie. Okay, we're gonna give away a beanie and a Ruderalis Rex pack. We're gonna do that on the next live. All right, so come and join me again, guys, for the next live. We're gonna have some fun, and it'll be a more engaging, more fun topic, guys. It's gonna be a fun one for sure. I'm gonna come up with some fun topics for next week. All right, guys. Hope everyone has a great night, and as always, much love, Gromies. Cheers.